All right, guys. So today's lesson is going to be about value. In fact, as we go today, you're going to want to make sure you're just writing down everything that I write down here on the piece of paper in your guys' sketchbook and kind of follow along. Because what we're going to talk about here is how to take this and add this to your project. And if this word is foreign to you, it's probably because you remember this word being shading. So in Intro to Visual Arts, we talk about value, and we do a very large project on how to shade. And these two things are interchangeable. Shading is the act of adding value to your paper, but value is sort of the term or the concept you want to keep in mind. And what value is, it's light versus dark marks of any kind on a work of art. And it's what creates sort of depth and the illusion of something that looks three-dimensional. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take what we've been drawing, we're going to add value and shading using light and dark with our ballpoint pen to add the illusion that it has more depth than it actually has. So there's a few things that we're going to draw on our paper really quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and go to the demo of it. So these things you want to copy down. First of all, I'm going to draw a little rectangle like this and split it into 3. You're going to number it 1, 2, and 3. And then really quickly, we're going to draw a cube. Does not have to be perfect. In fact, mine is already not perfect. I'm going to fix it a little bit as I go. And then you're going to draw a cylinder, because these two forms usually build up the foundation of what we talk about moving forward on how to shape things. So I'm going to draw a quick little cylinder, start with my ellipse, and round that off the bottom. Remember our lesson about cylinders having a round bottom. Now I have my two forms. I have this rectangle up here, and I know that what we're going to be adding today is value. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make what we call a value scale, and we made these in intro as well. And you may remember these because you make these just in art class a lot. But basically, what we need to do is we need to make these 3 values look different from each other. So when we talk about a value scale, our number 1 or our lightest value is actually just white. I can't make a lighter mark than the white of my paper, so there it is. So I go to my 2. I'm just going to make a series of lines. We call this hatching, where we use lines to shade. Okay, we're actually going to keep going all the way into the 3. So now I have 2 values, my number 1 and my 2 and my 3. And so the way that I add better value or more value and make it darker and kind of work with that value scale with a pen is that I just add another layer. So I go right here to my 3, I just do it again. Another layer of hatching automatically makes my 3 darker than my 2 and my 2 darker than my 1, because I have 0 layers, 1 layer, and 3 layers of ballpoint pen. And I can keep going, and I can make this get pretty dark. But for the sake of what we're talking about and learning this simplified, this is good enough. And that's why we do this with ballpoint pen, because now we have 3 distinct values. We have a highlight, a midtone, and we have a shadow. And we can get even darker for a cast shadow, and we'll do that in a minute. But this is basically the concept. So now we take this, we jump down here, and we label. And we think about this as a sort of value by numbers kind of thing. So if I have a light source, remember I said value is finding light and finding dark on an object, and that happens when you got a little lamp and it's shining light like this down on an object, right? So that part of this object that's closest to this light source gets the 1, and that's this one right here. That's my 1, this is my 2, and this is my 3. This side is furthest from here, this is in the middle, this is the closest. Then I just take this and I just put it in there, I just plug it in. So 1 set of lines, I'm going to follow it through, and then I'm going to come back, set my 3 as that extra layer, and there you go. And now you should start seeing a little bit of an illusion of depth. Like I said, this is not perfect. This is just the concept applied, that this thing looks like it actually belongs somewhere. It has solidness to it. It's not just a transparent shape anymore. I could take this down here now, and I could add a little shape like this. I should probably do something more like this. And then I can take this and make this the darkest, and I can make this have, I can do 3 layers, or since I know I'm going to be making it my darkest, just kind of shading it in as dark as I can here. And that's how you make what we call a cast shadow. And these only appear when the object is touching another object or sitting on the ground, right? Like I'm making this cube look like actually it's sitting somewhere in the world on a table. If I really wanted to, I could take that one step further out of horizon, like go behind it like this, and actually make that feel like it's sitting somewhere, right? All right, so how do we take this concept and apply that to the cylinder? Well, it's going to be kind of the same concept, and the way that I like to simplify this for you when you're new at this is imagine that there is an invisible line here on our cylinder, like this. because at a rounded object like this, imagine there's light coming in, right? This right here would be the closest to that light, right? If I have a cylinder sitting like this, you could almost kind of see this happening because the light is above me right now. It's light right here, and it gets darker as it goes down here, and then the shadow is down underneath it, right? And it goes this other way as well because it's round. So this is our 1, and then it goes 2, and then it goes 3, like that. If I take it and I go 1 set of lines all the way down, and somewhere around that halfway point, I want to come like this and kind of creep it back up into that 2. So that I create that fade of it going from light to dark. And then depending on where your light source is, like I'm kind of imagining mine is above like this, right? This is gonna get hit by a pretty good amount of light. And so it does kind of become our 1. If you want to, you can do a little bit like this, because it's gonna not have 0 light. It might have like a little bit of light. And you can kind of add this extra little bit on top, and it does kind of help that illusion. And then we add a shadow. Cylinder shadows are super easy. And that creates the illusion of the depth of that. And that's it. This is literally what we need to know now, because on your project, you have either this or you have this, right? You have a bunch of either cubed objects or rounded ellipse cylindrical objects, and you're going to take these, you're going to plug them into your project, and you're going to shade. Okay. After seeing this on your project, when you're done with your pencil lines, first, you're going to trace the lines with pen. Second, you're going to add value, right? Or shade. And that's how you finish your project. So it starts to look two-dimensional. I can add depth, and like it's not just a transparent bunch of forms just floating in the space. Okay, that's it, guys.